So I'm back out to document what I think is now the completed Heart of the City 2 project in Sheffield. It's a beautiful day. I've got a lot more information than my previous video, which I'll delete once I've uploaded this. But it's cost £470 million for Heart of the 2 in Sheffield city centre. I think some of it's private finance, some of it's public. There'll be grants flying around all over the place. But I thought the best place would be to start on Pinstone Street. Now this was blocked off during lockdown. They used emergency powers. It used to be where the buses came through. Along here we used to have beautiful ivy covered bus shelters. They've all gone. And just in here, I'll quickly show it you. It's Sheffield by the sea at the moment in the Peace Gardens. As you can see, the Helter Skelter and whatever and that, but to me it's not the beautiful Peace Gardens we all remember. It's also a much smaller version of the Peace Gardens, because the Peace Gardens come right out to where you can see this metal on the floor just here. That was like the border, and it went right along to St Paul's Chambers, I think that's called, down there. Well, let's start with the first part, which is the Radisson Blu Hotel. Now it wasn't built by Radisson Blu, it was actually built by Sheffield City Council. They funded it, £43 million. So what you've got is the existing frontage, but behind it it's been completely knocked out. It's called Palatine Chambers, but the £43 million included the hotel and also the upgrade to the Gormont building round the back, which I'll show you in a moment. So the council can't tell me exactly how much the hotel costs, so I'm going to go on the basis of about at least 30 million quid to build this hotel. I've never known councils building hotels before. Now I've done this under freedom of information request, and I've asked what's the deal between Radisson Blu and Sheffield City Council, and they won't tell me. They won't tell me how much they're leasing it back for or whatever. They won't tell me what the deal is. They're using commercial grounds. I believe when it's public money there's no such thing as commercial grounds. So I'm not happy with that. I'm going back to the leader of the council and the chief executive on that one. So you can see the shop fronts in it now. So some of these will become shops again. We all remember places like Beatty's, Mapley's Electronics and various things. Now this is the entranceway to the Radisson Blu. I've been in the doorway and I wasn't that impressed. I've stayed in hotels in London back in the 90s. Stayed in the top hotels, Burnham Beeches, places like that. So I'm not that impressed. So you've got the old town hall up there. So you come to this hotel, you can't bring your car up the front and drop your luggage off, but I will show you where you can drop your luggage off. So at some stage this is going to have cycle lanes along here, but I don't know how you can run a business in Sheffield not being able to get deliveries to your shop. So yeah, we've had a hit on the high street with online shopping and all of that, but Sheffield City Council have made it so impossible to actually drive your car into Sheffield. So even if whether you're coming into shop or whether you've got a business, it's a nightmare. I think there's been complaints on Division Street because that's been blocked off now to traffic. So you can see down towards Fargate, that's costing about £33 million to upgrade that. Costs have doubled, and that was back in 2023 November, so the cost have doubled to 33 million according to Sheffield Star anyway. So you can see a bit of more cobbled surface around here. Like I said, that'll be more cycleways up there. So we're going to walk into Barker's Pool now. can see the cenotaph right up there. So just here was the old Gaumont cinema. They knocked it down, they built a red Meccano building with a couple of cinemas above, which eventually became nightclub, and then all of that lot closed down. There was shops underneath it and there's new shops again. You can see the frontage on it. It's not classic like the old Gaumont. So at some stage these shops will get filled back up. But I just want to show you on the side of this building, that's actually live, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but it's irrigated. Now there's been some disasters, I think, on the Marks and Spencer's buildings where they've put this sort of green on. It's failed and they've had to take it down. So I don't know how long that is going to last. But this is the other part of the £43 million development. So the Radisson Blu around the corner, this little bit, was called Palatine, and it was, I think, at Unit A or something like that. So that's 43 million quid for all that lot. So we're in Barker's Pool. See the City Hall up there. Balm Green Park there. And this used to be the Grand Hotel just here. And just there, I think it was, used to be Cinema House many years ago. We all went to Josie's in there, didn't we, I think. Then here we've got the old Coles building, built in about 1964. It's really absolutely amazing because this is listed, and the original Coles building, which was Coles Corner on Fargate and High Street, wasn't listed. It was a beautiful building and it was knocked down, but they've listed what I class as a really awful building. Urban Splash have got hold of it. They've got a lease, I think, for 999 years. Same again, Sheffield City Council won't tell me, under commercial reasons, what it's been leased back to Urban Splash for. It's going to be a multi-use building. So that's another angle on the old Gaumont cinema. It used to be so classy, the old Gaumont. Originally it was about 2,500 seats, and then it got converted into 3 cinemas, but it was always plush and luxurious. But just here, originally where the Coles was, before this was built, this was another playhouse as well. And I forgot the name of the playhouse. I've got so much information running through my head, but if the name of the playhouse comes back in my head as I'm walking around. I have got a bit of some crypt notes today, so I want to show you the other entrance to Radisson Blu. So if you've got your suitcases, you can drive up round the back, if you know how to get round the back, and then I went into reception and asked them where you park, because there's no parking in the building. And they said it's about 4 minutes walk away to parking, so I don't know if they've got an agreement with some other company and whether that's included in your hotel cost, but you can have a look online and look at the cost of the rooms. So this is the other entrance way into the hotel, but this is the only access with a car. Like I said, there's no car parking. I think there's no sports facilities in the hotel. The only real selling point on the hotel is it overlooks the Peace Gardens, but to me that's not much of a selling point, the restaurant overlooking the Peace Gardens, because it's not the beautiful hexagonal Peace Gardens with lovely flower beds in it anymore. So I think we're on Garrett Street. So here we've got the Salvation Army building, And I think the council's putting pressure on the person who owns it to actually do something with it. It's absolutely beautiful, this building. You'll see it in a moment as we get around the corner. The sun's a bit bright here. So on Burgess Street just here. This is bringing you back onto Pinstone Street, but the Salvation Army building is just something out of this world. Like I said, the council's putting pressure on the developer who owns it to do something. It's got a beautiful hall inside. I think it should be an events place of some kind, or even a pub or something, but I think they want to put a 5-storey office block behind it and just keep the frontage on it. That'd be so tragic. Goes quite a bit into the ground. So we're just back onto Pinstone Street here, like it's a Sunday morning, just getting past 10 o'clock, so it's absolutely dead. I just want to show you one other thing before we go on to the rest of the heart of the City 2. So right along the top of Radisson Blu you can see some railings, and there's a sort of restaurant cum bar on the top, so you've got views, panoramic views just on one side over the Peace Gardens. But when there's all food places down here, it's not going to look fantastic down here. Looking from down there, it don't look fantastic anyway. On the modern Peace Gardens, it'd have been absolutely fantastic looking down on the old Peace Gardens. So let's have a walk down now and show you the rest of the heart of City 2. But we have some beautiful buildings left in Sheffield. This is one of my favourites, this one. So St Paul's Parade down there. So you're starting to see Art of the City 2 now. Now I knew this is Nottingham Building Society just here. Well, that's an empty unit there. I think that's another empty unit. Then you've got Savills Barbers. Another empty unit. Another empty unit. Then you've got a yard store. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip right round the other road in a moment. Probably remember Soak's been there where Julia's Hair and Cosmetics is. I just want to show you from here. So you've got the yard. So you can see the building behind the actual existing structure. I've got a beautiful picture of this at home. This trams used to run up here at one bit, but like I said, I don't like what they're doing. I think they're destroying Sheffield, but you know, can't get a better view on that on a day like this with the sky, can you? So this is around the back of the Coles building. You can see the car park, you can't use it anymore. And I think that'll become exclusive to people in flats or something who will live in there. So I think there'll be flats in there as well, or whatever. So I think we're on Cross Burgess Street now. And I've just missed something. So that's Burgess Street. I'll be in trouble with Miss Avisham if I don't mention this. Just here where you can see white boards, they knocked down the Yorkshireman pub, claimed it was dangerous. So it's never been built on, but that's where the Yorkshireman pub was, that's gone. There's quite a few venues around here that's gone. You can see all the flats around here now. I think this is new here, this bit here. We just love blocking streets off. But we're coming down to what I call the Rust Bucket. And this is a Cambridge food place. It's supposed to be the biggest food hall in Europe, but just pop down to Meadow Hall. It's massive. Meadow Hall's far bigger. So we're now, like I said, on Cross Burgess Street. Now this was Henry's posing place, first place. I had a pint of lager in a vase. No music in here, but it had a right atmosphere. One of the in places to come. And just here, that's the entranceway to HSBC's new head office, about a quarter the size of the Pennine 5 or Griffin House that I used to work in for 15 years. But that area there, I've got it right, was the Wappen Tech just there. So you got Henry's bar here, and John mentioned it, so you got Henry's there and then you got the Wappen Tech there. Now you couldn't get two buildings that were so opposed to each other. That was more a heavy rock place, Wappen Tech, and this was the posers place. So if I've got that wrong, please correct me, but I'm absolutely sure. I had to go back on an old map, and I'm absolutely sure that was where the Wappen Tech was. Can't ever remember going in the Wappen Tech, but they've done a lot of work on Cambridge Street. They've had to keep a lot of the old buildings. And they've done a good job of them, to tell you the truth. But it's Sunday morning, just past 10, and there'll be pretty zero footfall. I don't know what time shops open. Is it about 11 o'clock on a Sunday? So we've got crosswires here. This used to be the toy outlet for Coles, and also I think prams and things like that. Now this takes you, if you go down here, this will take you into the Cambridge Collective. I've got another video on it. So it's not, the entranceway is not directly on Cambridge Street, but you can get on into the Cambridge Street Collective from here. So you can have a look at my video on it. I went in the first week and it was open, it was absolutely packed. Been in since, it's still packed, but the thing is, we've got other units coming, so now I'm trying to work out where was the Sportsman. I don't know if the Sportsman was there or down there, but I'm putting my money on Sportsman was about here. Pub. Now we've got Emery Lear and Sons, and this is going to be another sort of yard like the Cambridge Collective, but slightly different. I think you're going to have selling various different units where they sell stuff in there, but also food things. But you can see the old Coles building there, and that's going to have food places in it as well. There's just that many food places, oversaturated with food places. If you go down into the Light Cinema, last time I went in there was only one food outlet open in there after about 10. So the in places will get used, and then once people get bored of the in places, they'll move on. Now, I can't remember where it was, but there used to be a fantastic furniture shop round here before 2000 that I bought a lot of furniture from, handmade furniture. It cost me an absolute fortune. And it was on Cambridge Street. How can you run a business now? Getting your stuff in and out of the business. So you can see more flats just here. More flats, I think, or offices possibly. So we're on Charles Street at the moment. It's got more empty shops down here. It's a Red Lion pub down there on Charles Street. We haven't got many of them types of pubs left, and they have a bit of a interaction every month in there, like a discussion forum. So there's the yard again. So we're just coming back onto Pinstone Street. So we've only got one Midland Bank left in Sheffield City Centre. Got one at Crystal Peaks and one at Meadowhall. I think that's about it. But this was an old Midland Bank. We had loads of them in town centre. But you can see how high it rises up now. I'll have a bit more of a walk down Pinstone Street. We've got more empty units here. But I just can't showcase it more, but I think it's destruction, not... I've been told, oh, I accept it, it's brilliant. Sorry. I feel that the waste of 470 million quid. It needed a bit of love and care, not... It didn't need 470 million quid spending on it. And what I can't understand is why are the council owning so much property? They used to own these sort of old marketplaces, but why do they own so much property now? Now, I think there's 38,500 council houses in Sheffield. I think there's something like 10,000 that need repairs on them, and these are long-standing repairs. And that was, let's think, that was about January to April 2024, those figures. So why aren't the council engaging in buying properties and doing all this when the council houses aren't doing so well? Like another empty unit here. So we're looking down the Moor down there. So this is the new Grosvenor building. Now, HSBC's head office is on the floors above. And it was called Grosvenor House because we had the Grosvenor Hotel just here. I think the Grosvenor Hotel must have replaced the old Grand Hotel. We'll have a walk up there in a moment. So just down here where you've got H&M, to the left of it was Red Gates. In about that section, so they knocked Red Gates down and they built what I consider a worse office to replace it. Gates looked like that building behind it. Wasn't as tall as that building, but it had a downstairs and 2 floors above. I don't think there's even a downstairs anymore in that building, so they've actually, to me, put a worse building there. Didn't need to knock down the Red Gates, it could have been renovated. Just here, along here was a 1960s development. It looked more like Pinstone Street up there. Same again, you can see how it probably used to look. But originally Pinstone Street looked like that all the way down. It got knocked down. And what I call an hideous 1960s building built along here. This has been recently knocked down, and what they're talking about is, instead of mid-city house, it'll become mid-city tower and it'll be about 25 stories, but that seems to be on hold at the moment. And they're now talking about sort of food cabins around this area, a bit like the failed project on Fargate. But if you look at that, that's Cambridge Street. And what used to happen is there was an arcade through here called Cambridge Arcade. Got Barney Gunn in and various things. I can't remember it before my time, but it came through onto Union Street behind, and there's not one of the old 19th century buildings left on Union Street. It's completely smashed the lot down. Now, you won't get that in Manchester, you won't get it in Leeds, Nottingham. We've just got a very poor council. They did seem to be forward thinking back in the 1970s, even though they did a lot of destruction. So there you can see HSBC above it. To be honest, I prefer filming at this particular time, and I won't be coming in Sheffield on a Saturday anymore. I don't like the vibes in the city anymore. It's quite pleasant empty today. So we used to have bubbles to come in Griffin House, and you can see the bubbles to get in. Look quite nice in there at Christmas with the Christmas tree in. But you can see further things. You come through these bubbles, and then there's further things to swipe your card on. There must be such a control in place. Now, when I left in 2000, I was offered a job in the internet department as it was starting up, and I turned it down. I just could see the amount of control coming along. But you can see where you walk through and swipe your card again. So if you swipe your card once, you've got to swipe it again. So here is that what was Emery's. I don't know if it'll become a pub again or not, but I'm now got my back to the old Wappen Tech. Now they've repaired the damage, because what they've done is they actually damaged a lot of this and put tarmac down while it's all being repaired, which is good. But it doesn't look the same, quite the same. I think you can see it looks a different colour. Now we're coming up to Elshaw House. Now I don't know if the council own this or not, or whether it's a private individual, but I went to the council because this is supposed to be the first net zero building in Sheffield, offices and various other things. And I asked the council how much energy was used in the production of the building versus how much will it save a year after, and they say that's not what a net zero building means. So you can't back up your agenda, really, can you? When you call that on your agenda, you can't provide facts to back it up. It's just nonsense. So that's another entrance way into Cambridge Collective up there. But like, I've got a video on that, and you can actually go on the video and have a watch of it there. You can see the rust bucket above it. It's a nice balcony up there. Now I think that was what was old Telephone House, if I'm right on that. I was supposed to be in London yesterday, but I couldn't face London. London fell long before Sheffield. Fell in the early 1990s, and you can't get basic things like toilets in London. It's a nightmare. This looks a nice cafe just here. So I just wanted to show you the Debenhams building at the moment. So that shut down in second lockdown along with the Coles building or John Lewis, and they haven't decided on this building what's going to happen. So I don't know who owns this building. Do the council own it? Like I said, seem to have got a big land bank, the council, but around the back of there is a musical park. There you've got the Light Cinema, and this is taking you down Charter Row. So we're on Furnival Gate, Charter Row, I think. So I think that's Furnival Gate there, Charter Row there. But I don't know whether it's taxis only along here. I suspect it's taxis only. So I don't think you can get cars up and down here anymore. It's like a bus and taxi. Could be wrong, but there was a bus gate down here. I'm not sure if it's in one direction or both directions, but they're making it permanent. So we're going to have a quick walk up Carver Street in a moment. I just thought I'd show you, get the full ambience of it. This is Grosvenor House again, all that top level. There's offices, all the level below it are shops, but most of them are vacant. So looking down Furnival Gate, if you look at Furnival Gate in the 1950s, they've got beautiful old buildings. So it's been pretty demolished over the years, Furnival Gate, long before this nonsense started. But the thing is with Debenhams, the question is, will it become food outlets, flats? Will they knock it down? But this was originally Paulden's. It was a Sheffield name. I just wanted to show you along here. So I think the council must own most of this because they got the name over it all. Developed by Sheffield City Council. So I don't know if that looks like it's got lights on in that bit, but Miss Abersham told me to show you the empty shop frontages. But I'm guessing the rents are going to be astronomical on these because they need to get the money back. But to me, they've got the whole model wrong for Sheffield. City centre should be a city centre. Round it, we should have modern engineering, and then we should have a decent transport system in from the suburbs for people working and shopping. We've removed people from Sheffield city centre and they've gone and done the reverse. They've killed off the main arteries. Arundel Gate, Air Street, Furnival Gate and Charter Row, bus gated them, and it's just destroying businesses all the time and shops and things. You just can't run businesses, especially with the busybodies from the council. So we've got a beautiful mural up there. Might get a different angle on it for you. Now this is where all the building stuff was. I'm just going to show you up Carver Street a bit. You can see the church on Carver Street. So this was for all the building materials, but originally it was a car park. But before that, they spent tens of millions of pounds on an headquarters for South Yorkshire Fire Brigade. They've knocked it down, and I think they've moved it onto Eyre Street or Arundel Gate. So it's just like they love to waste money, tens of millions each time, knock it down, build it back up again. Well, just behind here is Pound's Pocket Park, named after something to do with a guy who ran the fire brigade. But the residents who live in Sheffield now want to extend Pound's Pocket Park to here. But I think it's prime development land for more buildings, so you've got Elshaw House there. We've got the Kangaroo Works up here. Now it's about £1,000, something £1,000 a month, which includes your heating and electricity. That's 12 grand a year just for a one bedroom flat. But I want a return on 12 grand a year. So there's Pound's Pocket Park. Then you've got the big mural up there, which just looks nice. But I'm sort of coming to the end of Heart of the City too, or it might have been known as the retail quarter of Sheffield, but I just want to show you one last thing. But this would have all been industrial areas around here. It's now student accommodation. But there's Kangaroo Works. They had some beautiful doorways and brickwork on it, and it's been stripped out, and it is actually in Kelham Island. And Kelham Island is free, they ask for a donation. It's open every day but Monday, so somewhere in there you'll find the original doorways and brickwork reconstructed at Kelham Island. But you're not going to see it daily as you walk past in Sheffield anymore. The whole thing of Sheffield, it used to be bubbling with industry around the city centre, the Buffer Girls down the Moor. You know, I was a white collar worker, I got total respect for blue collar workers, and I feel that Sheffield still has a part in all of that with industry. But for some reason our council's only bothered about the university. They never asked us. But just here, this is the one last thing. You've got Trafalgar Warehouse down there, and I think that's an events place. But just here was going to be originally the tallest building in Sheffield, Coach Sheffield. I think it was going to be about 36, 37 stories. I think they keep upping and down in it. They keep saying they're going to start and then they don't start. And I think the latest figure is for it to be a 32-storey building, Coach Sheffield. So I think once it's built, it won't be the tallest building in Sheffield, because that'll probably be King's Tower. So anything could happen. These tall buildings in Sheffield never seem to happen. They all seem to be a bit pie in the sky stuff. But that's it. I think that's a complete view of the heart of the city too. On a glorious day. If you could like the video, follow the channel and click on notifications for new videos. So that's more student accommodation here. We had so many fantastic jobs in Sheffield, but we're not creating the wealth anymore in the city. If you want people to come in and shop, you need to have decent jobs in the city, not warehouses, call centres and retail parks. We need proper, real wealth creating businesses in Sheffield. So that's it, over and out from Heart of the City 2 in Sheffield.